Most sawdust and small wood scraps end up in the trash. But what if that same waste could help save this broken flower pot? Today we'll mix sawdust with cement, use 2 damaged plastic pots as a mold, and see if shop waste can become something beautiful for the garden. Welcome back to Dan Fix. I'm Dan. Start with 1 container of cement and 1 container of sawdust. Before mixing, wear gloves and avoid breathing dry cement dust. Cement can irritate your skin, so do not let it sit on your hands for long. Pour water into the cement first, then stir until the powder and water come together. We want a smooth base before adding anything else. If dry cement stays hidden in the corners, the mixture can become weak later. Next, add the sawdust and keep mixing. This step matters more than it looks. Sawdust can clump together and absorb water quickly, so every small piece needs to get coated with cement. If we rush this part, the project can fail before the mold is even ready. Did you know sawdust can also be used to absorb moisture and odors, cover soil around plants, make compost, provide bedding for animals, produce wood pellets, create handmade crafts and decorations, and even help preserve certain roots and fruits in some cases? For the mold, use 2 broken plastic pots. The bottoms are damaged, but the walls still have a good shape, and that is the part we need. Place the first pot on the work table and seal around the bottom edge with hot glue both inside and outside. This seal keeps the cement mixture from leaking out under the pot. It also helps stop air from coming through the bottom while the new pot forms. Now, place a small piece of foam in the center about 1.5 inches tall or about 4 centimeters. This little foam block is not decoration. It sets the bottom thickness and creates the drainage hole later. Would you use these broken pots as molds, or would you still throw them away? Before pouring, brush a thin layer of waste oil or release oil inside the outer pot and on the outside of the second pot. Use only a light coat and wipe off any extra. The oil works as a release layer, so the cement will not lock itself onto the plastic while it hardens. If you plan to grow edible herbs, use a cleaner mold release option instead of waste oil. Begin pouring the sawdust cement mixture into the bottom of the outer pot. Keep the level even with the top of the foam block. Do not bury the foam. That space needs to stay open so water can drain through the finished pot. Set the second plastic pot inside the first one. Center it carefully. Then place a brick inside and add some water to create gentle downward pressure. The weight keeps the inner pot stable without crushing the mold. Look at the space between the 2 pots. That gap is where the new flower pot is being formed. Spoon the mixture into the gap little by little. Move slowly so the inner pot does not shift out of position. Once the gap is full, use a wooden handle to tap around the outside wall. These small taps help trapped air rise out of the mixture. If air stays inside, it can leave holes, weak spots, or rough pockets on the surface. After 24 hours, the waiting is over. Gently pull and tap the plastic mold. This is where the release oil proves its value. Instead of fighting the plastic, the new pot begins to separate cleanly. The first look is already promising. The shape is clear, the walls look solid, and in this test, the pot held together without major cracks. Press the foam plug out of the bottom and the drainage hole appears right where we planned it. The surface still needs finishing. Use sandpaper to smooth the rough spots around the rim and any sharp edges left from the mold. Wear a dust mask during sanding because cement dust is not something you want to breathe. Before the final color, add a gray primer coat. Primer helps the paint bond better and makes the final finish look cleaner. If you plan to use a bright color later, a white primer can make that color stand out more. That is a small painting trick that makes a big difference. Once the primer dries, cover the pot with white paint. Keep the coats light and even. Heavy paint can run especially around the curved sides. If you made this pot, would you keep it plain white or add a leaf pattern like this? For the pattern, use real leaves as the stencil. Place one leaf flat against the white surface, then spray or brush a different color lightly over it. Do not overload the paint. When the leaf lifts away, the shape stays behind like a clean garden print. Let the paint dry fully before planting. Then place a small plant inside and the project finally comes to life. The result looks better than I expected. The color, the leaf pattern, and the shape make this feel like something you could place in a garden on a porch or beside a workshop door. Compare that to the waste we started with. Sawdust, a piece of foam, a little release oil, and 2 broken plastic pots would usually be thrown away separately. But together, each one played an important role. The sawdust became part of the mix, the foam created drainage, the oil helped release the mold, and the broken pots shaped the final piece. That is the hidden value in simple DIY work. Sometimes the material is not useless, it is just waiting for the right idea. If you found this useful, hit like, subscribe to Dan Fix, and tell me what waste material you want me to turn into something useful next.